guys, so I hope you can hear me. Okay, I see it now. I just wanted to come on and talk about a couple stories that are kind of out here. Oh, my volume is down, that's why. So, the first story that I'm going to start with is TK Kirkland. I believe he is a comedian, and he's also always on YouTube for whatever reason, all up in the comments. Anyway, he was talking with Vlad recently. And I'm not sure if you guys heard what he had to say about Rihanna and ASAP Rocky, who are expecting, she's expecting her first child. I'm not sure if this is his first child, but this is Rihanna's first child. And he is saying, and some other people are saying this as well, they were saying this on Twitter as well, that she should not, um, at her level, whatever that means, she should not want to be a baby mama. Because here's my thing. I think this is people have to understand this is her personal choice. I don't think that this pregnancy just happened. First of all, she's been dating this guy for a while now, several years. Um, so this is not she just met him 2 or 3 months ago, and now she kind of came pregnant within those 2 or 3 months. This is someone that she obviously planned to have this child with, and people have accused her of being pregnant several times already in the past. But now that she is pregnant, everyone wants to say, "Oh, but you're not married." And so I don't really get it. I think that some people just always want to have something to say. But I do want to play a bit of what he said in that interview with Vlad so you guys can get a context of what he is trying to say, I guess, and then I'll come back.
And at this point, that's what she has. This is not a knock at Rihanna. This is not a knock at ASAP Rocky.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like act your way.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you 100%.
And I haven't really heard anyone saying that. Like really, it was like, everyone's, oh, congratulations, woo!
Because it's Rihanna. Look, bitch, you're Rihanna. You should not be called baby mama.
Well, of that caliber.
Yes.
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yes.
Married.
Yeah.
And then they had all their kids. Swizz Beatz, Alicia Keys. Married. Then they had all their kids. Kanye and Kim Kardashian. Granted, they're not doing too well right now, but before they had kids, either one of them, they got married first. Like, Rihanna is technically going to be a baby.
So he's saying technically she's going to be a baby mama because she's not married. Now, when I first, however many days now that it's been since she announced her pregnancy, they were saying that there was a rumor saying that they might already be married. Every people, everyone may not want to put their business out there all the time, especially if they feel like people will play on that information. So you never know if they are married or not. And so, number one, let's say that we don't know if they are married or not, right? So we don't know. And I do feel that she planned this pregnancy. I don't think that she just randomly got pregnant, and that's just my opinion. She can come out and say whatever. I don't know that she's been interviewed since she had made this announcement, but I just feel like if she's been with this guy that long, they have had a conversation about wanting a family. That's my point. Um, I do get what they are saying, but at the same time, I think people put a lot of emphasis on money. And in our community, yes, I will have to say that I do agree that it's probably too much of this thing where people are setting these examples by going out and randomly having all these kids all over the place. And it's not just men. But there is clearly a double standard in how people are holding conversations about celebrity women, in particular Black women coming up pregnant, and opposed to other women who also are baby mamas. Yet you rarely hear that term used around them, because all of those Kardashian women are baby mamas except for Kim. even though he brings Kim and Kanye up in this conversation, but all her sisters are baby mamas, right? And they're just as rich as she is, if not richer. I think the youngest one, right? So, what? Why the double standard with Rihanna, and especially coming from Vlad? Like, excuse me, but so I don't really get that. They would have to really break that down and explain that to me because I don't get that. Because, like I said, there's several other women who are public figures who are having children and they're not married and they're also not black. But I don't hear you guys using that term around them or saying that they should be held to some higher standard because they have all this money, right? And so that part I don't get, but I can understand if you're trying to say coming from the black community where we don't really see that, um, people should set a better example, right? And that's why I wanted to title this kind of celebrity and influence, because I think that there's a lot of, a lot of this conversation is being placed on her because of her celebrity, right? And feeling that she has influence over other young women. Um, but I almost feel like Rihanna said one time that she's not really that interested in being anyone's role model, and I'm almost positive that her child's father has said the same thing. So I don't think people should look to these people as examples of how you should live your life. Anyway, any of these celebrities, to be honest, your examples and your moral set and your principles and these things should be coming from your family anyway. That's the stuff that they should be instilling in you, not Rihanna. You shouldn't be looking for Rihanna if you should get married to your child's father or not, right? That's something that your family should explain to you. That's important. It's important for you to give that child both parents and make sure that they're both available to those children. Um, so I don't think that should come from Rihanna. That's just my opinion. People can express whatever opinion you need to express in the comments if you guys don't want to come on. Um, but I don't really necessarily believe that that's for her to set that example for someone else's child. I think that people should be setting those examples for their children and also instilling, because just because you're not married and you have children do not mean you should teach your children to go out and have kids and not get married. And I hate to have that conversation with people, and that's just how I feel about it though. Just because you're having a child, you know, and you had your child, do not mean you should now teach your children that marriage is not an option. It should be an option. Having a family, it should be an option before you decide to make children. And that conversation should come from your family, not from celebrities, right? Because as we know, these celebrities, they go through marriages and relationships anyway, right? So I don't think that you should be looking to these people for that type of guidance. And that's just my opinion. But I do think that there is a double standard about that as well. And I found some of it disrespectful to Rihanna because, like I said, I don't think that she's just randomly having a baby by some random guy because she didn't think this through. I think that she, at her age, has decided, I want to become a mom, and that's what she's doing. She can afford to take care of the child. And I'm not saying that the money thing should be an excuse because I don't think the money thing should be an excuse. Just because you can afford to hire all these people to cook and clean and take care of your child while you're on the road and do this, that, and the other, do not mean that the child do not want that bond with you, right? As they want the relationship. Most people are going to say they want a relationship with their mother. They want the relationship with their father. They want to know your favorite color. What do you like to eat? The things that you're doing that they don't see all the time. That they don't want to learn those things and get these things, your favorite music and all this stuff from the nanny. And so I don't think money is always this big should always take on this big conversation. And there's some bigger. Everybody should be expected to take care of their kids and have a bond with their child. If you bring a child in the world, you should know the child. The child should know you, regardless if you have money or not. The child should not know whoever the nanny is more than they know you. And that's just my opinion. So I don't, I just find it a slightly disrespectful how they kind of handled that conversation, and maybe they're just trying to pressure Rihanna and ask Rocky to say if they're married or not, because that rumor was out there that they might already be married. So, but even if they're not, it's her decision and it's his decision to make how they are going to bring their child in the world. And they have been together now for a while. So as long as they are together, do it really matter if they are married? That's the third part of it, I guess. And that's up to them because marriage is not for everyone. Some people may really honestly feel scared to do that. And she may have her own reasons other than just fear of not wanting to get married. I mean, he can have his own reasons as well. We are definitely living in a time now where people are getting off into all these multiple relationships and having 5 or 6 people in the relationship with them and all this stuff that's out here. So that's also a part of it as well. I don't think that marriage, the way some of us may feel like we know it, is has the respect that it once had in this country and probably other places as well. I just don't think that people look at marriage and family life the same like that anymore, which then leads me into this whole Nick Cannon conversation because I also feel like it's a double standard that you guys are saying, that these guys are saying, oh, there's an expectation for Rihanna to have a husband, but there's no expectation for Nick Cannon to have a wife. And I know that he was married at one time to Mariah Carey, but now, he's gone on to have what, 5 or 6, I've lost track, new children since his divorce from Mariah. And it sounds to me that he is deciding to take on a what is it, not polygamy, polyamorous lifestyle, which is his choice. I mean, I don't have anything to say about Rihanna's decision or Nick Cannon's decision. People can do whatever they feel is best for them. My whole thing is always about the child to me. Like, as long as people are not making selfish decisions and not thinking that this child will need me, right? This child don't need me because I have all this money to put all these other people in place. I think that is selfish, and all the books are already out here. There are tons of books out here about people from high profile politicians to celebrities, so on and so forth, athletes, their children who have written books about not having the relationship that they wanted to have with their parents. And so all this information, all this stuff is already out here. So I'm not saying anything that people shouldn't already know. So I wanted to play what Nick Cannon is saying in his recent interview when asked about his relationship with his kids' mothers, because he's saying that these were not random girls and he just got pregnant. Like I said, I think he's polyamorous, and for whatever reason, is not wanting to put a title on it, or at least I don't hear him putting a title on it in this interview. But it sounds like polyamory to me, where he's in all these relationships. And I think I spoke at this conversation out here. I spoke about this, like what happens when you are in a relationship with all these multiple people, and now you're having children in these relationships. Like how does that work? And so I guess he is an example of that because he is creating life with all of these different partners, and I don't know. To each his own, and that's all I can say. But I'm going to play what he had to say in an interview recently about his polyamorous uh, relationships.
I know. And are they not doing it with anyone else?
From what they tell me.
Are they allowed to?
If I feel like if I'm not fulfilling you and there's a void in your life, please feel free to go.
That's a different answer than what I asked.
Because I don't have dominion or the authority to tell them what they're allowed.
But if they were with someone else, it wouldn't mean necessarily you weren't satisfying them physically. It could be
or emotionally. I didn't say physically.
Yeah.
Because it's not a physical thing.
Yeah.
If there's something in your life, there's a void in your life that I'm not fulfilling, you should go find.
Right. And is there any consequence for that if she does?
I think there's a natural, and I'm gonna get back to my process, but now we made a left.
the
I'm just so fascinated.
I think there is definitely a natural, I won't even call it consequences, cause and effect. If I believe that you are solely for me, and there's certain things, there's certain energies that we'll share on that level. As soon as I know that there's someone else in play, and whether that's financially, whether that even emotionally, I'm gonna say, "Oh, let me pull back so you can have an opportunity to grow with that other person." And I've been deeply in love with people that actually occurred, and I stepped back and allowed that to happen, and now that person has flourished and is carrying on and has an amazing relationship. Yeah. So I understand.
But are there financial conflicts?
Of course, but hopefully I'm dealing with strong enough women and you know, well-minded in the sense to where they were never really in it just for financial reasons.
No, of course not. So, but if they've gotten used to a certain
But
lifestyle,
if I buy a house and you feel like you need to have another man in your life, that man, I got that house. That house needs to become you and that man's house. Right. No longer my house. Right. So whatever financially, however that has to happen, hopefully you've chosen a man that can now do the same things or better
so
that I can do.
They're not going to do that. Like, let's.
Well, that's their fault.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like polyamorous to me. Um, Now here is where like I said, the double standard. Why is it, and how is it that Nick Cannon, no one's having conversation about him creating all these children with all these different girlfriends, and he's clearly stating that he's in a relationship with these women, all of them, um, except for Mariah Carey, of course. Even we understand that she is the mother of twins, but they are divorced. He was actually married to Mariah, and so I think that his relationship with her is viewed as a different setup, right? Because obviously they were in a traditional marriage. Um, my whole thing is he started saying that, well, if they decide to go and get with somebody else, then that guy is going to have to start taking over financially for them, um, and so it's probably best for them to go and get involved with someone who has that type of money. And so I don't know. So what if the women all decide that they just want to stay with Nick, right? So are you going to continue to take care of all these households like that? You guys get what I'm saying? I mean, if he can afford to do that, then it is what it is. I don't know. I'm just asking. This is a question. Because, like the lady is saying, if they're used to a certain lifestyle, why would they want to walk away from that lifestyle, to go and be with someone else? And they would not, like he said, they would have to find someone who is financially capable of doing what he's doing in order for them to walk away. But what if he decides to walk away? What if he decides, okay, maybe I don't really want to do this. Maybe I want to go back and try to have the traditional lifestyle, the traditional family setup with a husband and wife, kids, and dog and picket fence, right? What if I decide I want to do that? And I still have all these women who still want me to take care of them in all these households. How does that work? And then how does it work if the women decide they want to, you know, have boyfriends but not get serious with anyone? So he can continue to pay the bills for them, but they will date whoever it is that they want to date. They just won't get into any type of a serious commitment with anyone else. So how does that work, right? So that's what the part that I don't get, and I don't know if he's going to actually explain that in this interview, because I don't think people really think all this polyamory stuff through. I think that it sounds to me, this is my opinion. Now, if you guys are living a polyamorous life, you are more than welcome to explain it to me and tell me how it works for you, because I think some people actually all live in the same household, but it sounds like Nick Cannon and these women do not live together. It sounds like they all have their own life wherever they are. And I think some of them are not in the same state anyway, same states. So I don't know. And then is he stopping at 8, or is he going to continue to do this? Or I don't know. It just sounds like a lot of confusion to me, and it sounds like the potential for a lot of confusion and problems can arise. And I think I was saying this in one of my videos before, like I said, because you can see how even with the situation where the young son Zen passed away from cancer, and then right after, what was it, less than a week or two, that he announced the other lady, the one now that's pregnant, is pregnant. And so I think the mother said that she just felt it was a little insensitive for them to do that at that time. But here's the thing: the new mother, if she's a first time mother, even if she's not, if she, she's pregnant, she wants to celebrate having her child, she's not connected to Zen's mother. Like, she has no emotional tie to this mother. So she wants to have her baby announcement party, baby shower, whatever. Um, should Nick go to her and have this conversation, or was she just supposed to think this through before on her own, like without even knowing this lady? So it was that part too, because remember, he had to go back on his show and he kind of had to apologize for putting that out there so soon, that the other lady was pregnant. And so that's, you guys see what I'm saying? It's just a potential for a lot of issues to arise, because you do have to be considerate of other people. And then what happens when all these kids that's the same age, when their birthday parties and all this stuff is at graduations and all this stuff is going on at the same time? Like, how do you manage that? Like, how do you decide? Do you flip a coin and say, oh, I can't make this, I'm going to make that? It's just a lot. And I don't think he really thought, really thought all of this stuff through. And then at the same time, maybe he feels like, as long as I'm financially taking care of these children, or that I can financially take care of these children, they better accept that and not expect anything else from me. Because you never know what people are thinking in their mind. I don't know. I just feel like some of it is selfish to me. To me, and like I said, some of these polyamory setups, everybody's in the house together, but it sounds like everyone's in different places, and so these kids are not going. They're all going to be raised accordingly to how these mothers choose to raise them, and how, I don't know. It's it sounds like a lot to me, but I think there's a double standard in people having expectations on Rihanna and not having them on Nick Cannon. She's having one child. This man has 8 children out here. He's not married to no one. I don't think any of them live in the same home with him. That's the way it sounds. Like, he goes to each girlfriend when he has time or whatever. Or maybe he's dating this last lady that is pregnant. I don't know. But I feel like there's definitely a double standard, and there's definitely a double standard with based on the race of these women as well, because all these women are baby mamas. Okay, but I don't hear nobody calling them baby mamas. But y'all want to call Rihanna a baby mama. All these women are baby mamas too. None of them are married to Nick. Like I said, the only person he was married to was Mariah. So, like double standards all the way across the board. And I think that um, people need to learn to be more respectful and think through some of the stuff that they're saying, because when you really think about what Vlad and what TK are trying to say, if you're not going to say that about everyone across the board, then you shouldn't say it about Rihanna. That's how I feel about it. I feel like whatever standards you're trying to hold her to, you should hold all these women to that. The Latin ones, the white ones, the Asian ones, all of these women, these guys are out here getting pregnant. And a lot of times, just simply because these men are black, people try to make like these are black conversations, and they're not. These are not this is not a black conversation. Okay, this is a conversation all the way across the board, because a lot of these guys are going out getting all these different women pregnant, but you guys only want to throw up this baby mama, baby daddy stuff around black folk. And this is why I'm kind of like I said, I was silent on Vlad even having the conversation. And I understand he's married to a black woman, but that does not give him um, some type of pass or some badge to now he can jump into conversations about how the black family structure is supposed to go down. Like, no, you really are overstepping, calling this lady out of her name like that, because I do feel like her child was planned. Now, whether they are married or not, or have plans on getting married, is a whole nother conversation. And they may both have reasons, like I said, for not wanting marriage. And so people need to respect that, because nobody's out here jumping on Oprah because she's not married to Stedman. If she is or not, we don't know. It's some other people as well. So that have been in long term relationships that never got married, or they finally got married 20, 30 years down the line. So I think that yes, it would be nice if Rihanna and this guy were married, but if they're not, okay, we know that this pregnancy was more than likely planned. We know that she didn't just pop up pregnant. Um, so there's no reason to kind of go into this whole thing about her being a baby mama. Like it's not a bunch of other baby mamas out here. Okay, so if you're going to have a conversation about women raising their standards or raising their expectations of going into motherhood, then you need to have that across the board. Like you should have that across the board for these women that are getting pregnant by Nick Cannon as well, and all the rest of these guys and what these women are out here getting pregnant by the Tristan Thompsons or whatever his name is, and all the rest of these people, Future and all his brew, his whole little tribe over there. You know, let's keep that conversation all the way across the board. Just because you feel that she's a billionaire, like she has to set some standard for motherhood. Why? Why not all these women? Why not every woman think about family first before they get pregnant? And let's have that conversation instead of pointing the finger at Rihanna and not at the rest of these people. When Nick Cannon got another, he has all these kids coming and he's not married to nobody. And according to him, he doesn't have any plans on marrying any of them. He's just going to let the relationships play out how they play out. And if the women decide, like you just heard him say, if they decide they want to go to someone else, then they should be going to that someone else expecting them to financially take care of their situations as well. So let me know what you guys think about this conversation about TK and Vlad saying that Rihanna is going out wrong by becoming a baby mama. Do you think that they're trying to have that conversation and based on influence, feeling like she's influencing younger women to do that? And I don't really, you can't really put that on her. I think that that's kind of culture now at this point. Now, I can remember when generations ago, people you would hear conversations in their movies and television shows who older that you could also hear the conversation in where people's parents expected them to get married if they came up pregnant, right? That was the expectation. If you are pregnant by anyone, that young boy or guy must plan on marrying you now that you're getting ready to have his child. People don't have those conversations anymore. And that's why I was saying that about, just because you are a single parent do not mean that people should push this culture to their kids that family is not important, because family should still hold some weight somewhere. Yeah, you made it through, you raised your child till they were 18, but that doesn't mean that you should put that expectation as something that on your child, your daughter, that it's okay for her to go out here at 15, 16 and get pregnant and do the same thing that you did. I feel like people should have conversations around family. I agree with them on that, but I don't think that's just on Rihanna. I think, like I said, that's a conversation for families to have. And Rihanna should not have influence over your child anyway, outside of maybe a song or an outfit or something. Anything other than that, you should be instilling in your child yourself. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this conversation in the comments. And do you get what I'm saying about the double standard? How they would sit there and have that conversation? Because I feel like people have done that to Rihanna. I mean, to Sierra as well, right? With the whole Future thing, like it's like they came down really hard on her, but Future kind of gets, it's like, oh well, we just expect these black guys to go out here and make all these babies, and we're not gonna hold any conversations about them marrying anyone, but these girls should expect to get married. It's like, no, I think that should go, that, like I said, that's a family conversation and people should be having that conversation with their sons and their daughters. I don't think that that's just on a Sierra or on a Rihanna. I think that you should have the same attitude that you have towards them and standards. You should have placed that on Future and place that on ASCAP Rocky. He should be expecting to marry. And Future should be expected to get married to somebody as well and stop doing all this stuff he doing. And I know y'all seen this video. I told you guys that Kevin Samuels was going to be in this video with him and that it was going to be something womanizing that had to go along with it. And of course it is, talking about he spends all his money a month on all these women. Like I said, could you, I mean, where is the expectations for Future? Like, let's stop, let's cut the nonsense on Rihanna. If you guys want to have a conversation, then have it all the way across the board about all these guys and the influence that they have, the influence that Future has on these young guys, the influence that all these people have that are out here doing stuff like that. You know, this is not a Rihanna issue. But let me know what you guys think about this conversation in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.